Oh my gosh, we got the monster. I read this. I was sick this week and I had time to sit here and read 1,200 pages worth of comics. Whew. This is the Green Lantern by Geoff Johns with art by Ethan Van Scarver, Carlos Pacheco, Ivan Reis, and others. And this is the first of 3 omnibuses of Geoff Johns' Green Lantern works. They are all in print, I believe. You get some nice art on the inside as well as on the cover here. Beautiful stuff. The art is so good throughout this whole book. Oh my gosh, it's like a beautiful art book. It is a little unwieldy. 1,200 pages is a little too much, I think. But you get the return of Hal Jordan to start here. He is part of Parallax at this point. And Parallax is like this alien demon entity who's got him kind of wrapped up. And he's partially merged with the Spectre, too. And the other heroes of the DC universe and the other Green Lanterns have to come back and kind of save him. Now look at Ethan Van Sciver's beautiful art he threw here. He does this entire miniseries at the beginning. Gosh, just absolutely gorgeous, stunning stuff. The best Green Lantern art, period. And it's enjoyable. So you go through this and you eventually find Parallax and find a nice way to fight him. Get him out of Hal Jordan. Look at him, how evil he is here, though. Parallax Hal Jordan. And they eventually rescue him. That's what it comes down to. Now, one thing I hate about DC omnibuses is they do the covers like this, where you get the art, and it's nice. It is really nice to see the art right here, and it's like, I guess, virgin form without the lettering on it. But the problem with it is, on these pages where they give the credits afterwards, they don't list the issue number. Marvel omnibuses are pretty good about putting the issue numbers in there. DC does not do that, so you really don't know where you're at in the volume a lot of the times, and that's a really painful way to read things between all of this. Eventually, we get past the original comeback stories, and there's some various miniseries in here. Like I said, it's impossible to really tell what's what, because unless you already just know from the outside. But in this, it's collected. There's a Wizard issue. There's a Rebirth issue, which we just read through. Secret Files and Origins. Green Lantern's Corpse Recharge 1 through 5, which is a kind of return of the Green Lantern Corps with Hal Jordan and kind of their reaction to that. You get Green Lantern 1 through 25. Green Lantern Sinestro Corps Special in there. Tales of the Sinestro Corps. And then there's also some Green Lantern Corps issues in here which are not listed in the credits. Gosh, that's weird. Yeah, so at the end you get into the Sinestro Corps, or the Sinestro War, I think it's called. And that is a back and forth between Green Lantern and Green Lantern Corps for 5 issues of each series as a crossover. And that's not listed in the credits here. Very bizarre. I don't know why they did that. But eventually Hal Jordan's back, and I'm going to skip through a bunch of this because otherwise this is going to take hours. And you get some, mostly like 4 to 6 issue series arcs of different stuff. This is not Ethan Van Sciver's art anymore. What are we reading now? You can tell. Patrick Gleason is the penciler of this right now. I think this is the Corpse series, the Recharge, where we kind of get back and relearn who all the Corpse people are. Kilowog and Kyle Rayner and others. And this was fun. Everything in here is good. Like I said, the art switches between several different artists through different parts after this. Get back to the Ethan Van Sciver art as we get back into Green Lantern issue 1. And you can tell it's just a little cleaner of a look when you get into his art. And we get back into Hal Jordan's life. Now, Hal Jordan is set up in Coast City, which was destroyed by that cyborg Superman back in, I think the Reign of the Superman arc or whatnot. Everybody's dead there, and the city's like reconstructed basically, but nobody's living there. So he gets his family, his brother, and stuff like that back into here, and then has to deal with manhunters who show up. Manhunters are a constant thing in the Green Lantern universe, and he has to fight them and enjoy some stuff with the Corpse here. Beautiful stuff. Fights this giant shark guy. I forget. You get reacquainted with a lot of his enemies here. That's creepy looking art right there. Simone Blanche, I think, is the artist through this. It goes back and forth, but it's mostly pretty consistent. Even though they switch up the artists, everybody does a pretty good job on it. Through here, Carlos Pacheco, here we are. He does a lot of the art through here also. They got to keep up with the monthly schedules. So they got to switch them up. Geoff Johns gives the pacing on this is so fast. That's what was beautiful. I read through this 1,200 pages this week. It was like nothing. You can just read right through this. Ivan Reis, he's probably my second favorite to Ethan on on the art through this volume here. And you get some one-off stuff, and Hal Jordan has trouble fitting in with the corps again. He ends up fighting these groups who are, there's this like world peacekeeping group of superheroes who's trying to stop America from causing problems, and of course Hal Jordan is seen as an American hero crossing borders too much, and he's causing trouble with that. The Corps also are not super happy with him being there because he's killed too many Lanterns when he was Parallax and all that. And yeah, bringing back a lot of different stuff. Aricia is a character who, you know, her and Hal Jordan had a relationship before. And just a lot of cool old stuff. Aricia is beautiful drawing. I would read her book if that existed. Cool stuff. Now, as we get into this, you get a lot of Hal Jordan past romances that are kind of brought back into the forefront here. And he rescues this girl called Cowgirl from Russia. And this is where it all goes down. Now the peacekeeping force is coming after him, and he's actually hunted at this point. And this is where the kind of major storylines begin to pick up. And a lot of different groups start hunting him. You can read that through here. Eventually, of course, it tangles with the JLA and JSA. But they, you know, eventually kind of work on his side a little bit. Ivan Reis again comes back for the art here. Some of my favorites. There's only one point in this where the art really drops off, and that's going to come up pretty shortly through this. And I'm just kind of fast forwarding to the Sinestro Corps War because that's really the best stuff. This is the art that's not my favorite. I think it was too much of a stark contrast compared with the rest of the run. You get these very thick digital ink lines on. Whoops, keep doing that. Sorry about that. Who was the artist on this? Daniel Acuna. And just not my favorite. I just don't like the style of this so much. It's okay. Probably be fine if it was not combined with the others. But since I'm reading it all back to back, this was a stark difference where the rest kind of fit in with each other. But there's this group of, like, I guess, pink lanterns at this point, and they're based on this, like, alien life form that's trying to get with Hal Jordan. And so they inhabit the bodies of everybody who is dating him, basically, in an attempt to do so. And they eventually attack him, and he kind of saves the day through that. And we learn that there's going to be all these different colors of lanterns coming up. And you end up with a very interesting dating scenario. Here's all the colors that are prophesized to come about. And, you know, it's kind of interesting. Very Power Rangers-esque of concepts here. And it's kind of fun. So now we get into the Sinestro Corps, and we learn of how Sinestro built his corps of people. This is just a one-shot right before we get into the Sinestro War, which is going to be a lot of fun here. Good stuff. You get some good background on these characters, which I liked. And here we go. The Sinestro Corps War prologue. Back to Ethan Van Sciver's art as he does this super long one-shot to kick off the Sinestro Corps attempting to take over the galaxy, destroy all the Green Lanterns. And they've teamed up with Cyborg Superman. They've teamed up with Parallax. It's going to be a big, nasty thing coming here. I think this is the only drawing of Supergirl that exists by Ethan Van Sciver. I'm a big Supergirl fan, so... at least in a comic book. I don't know about sketches or things like that, of course. But this all kicks off right here, and the Green Lantern Corps ends up in this giant war, which lasts 10 issues. This is phenomenal stuff. This is the ultimate Green Lantern story, maybe. Ivan Reis takes over for the beginning of this war, and you get the Hal Jordan story in the main Green Lantern book, and what happens is Parallax actually takes over Kyle Rayner's body, and so you get Kyle Rayner as Parallax now versus Hal Jordan as a Green Lantern. Now, in the Sinestro Corps, Dave Gibbons is the writer through that series, and you get some different pencilers working on it through here, too. You get some different stories. You get some stories of Arisia. You get some stories of Kilowog. You get the Sentient Planet, which I really like. I love the Sentient Planet Green Lantern. I think that's a fun concept. And it goes back. So they're doing their part of the war. Hal Jordan's doing his part of the war. And it just goes back and forth. Eventually you see that they've even got the Anti-Monitor, the evil anti-life from the anti-universe, just is directing everything. And this is a whole thing where you know, he's trying to take over the entire multiverse, it turns out, throughout all this, while Sinestro is being, I guess, his willing accomplice here. But people are dying. Things are really tough. The Green Lanterns really can't do much because they're just strapped by their own rules. And what ends up happening is the Guardians say, you know what? We're no longer doing this whole you can't kill, because if you can't kill in the middle of a war, we're just going to keep dying and they're going to keep coming. And that's what happens. Eventually, that rule goes away and the Green Lanterns are allowed to kill, and it gets pretty brutal. Throughout all this, you get lots of deaths on both sides, and it comes down to Earth as everybody attacks on behalf of this Sinestro Corps. And this is a Superman from a different universe where there's no superheroes, and he was reading about the DC superheroes, and that universe apparently got destroyed. Pardon. And then you get this epic battle between them. Eventually, the Green Lantern Corps does prevail throughout all of this, and saves the day. But at what cost? At what cost? A couple of Guardians get thrown out in the middle of this, and there's a prophecy that's building throughout this entire book that when all these colors of lanterns kind of show up, that's going to lead to the Blackest Night that's going to destroy everything. It's going to be even worse than this, apparently. Which doesn't get seen in this volume, of course. It's in volume 3, I believe. This is a background of that this is a one-shot background. You can tell the art's different again, of that Superman from that universe. Very interesting. Glad that's included in here. And the end of this, I guess Peter Tomasi actually writes the end of this. I don't know what happened with Geoff Johns. Maybe he got a little too busy. He was writing almost all of the DC universe for a while there. And it closes out. It closes out with Geoff Johns finishing the series as they save the day again. Cool. And everything's happy once again. Now, for that prophecy, a couple of the Guardians take off and they form the Blue Lanterns here. So that's going to start the prophecy kicking off into something evil, which will come back later. This is where the end of the story really stops with this. Now you get a Files and Origins issue back here, which is neat. They actually go over the Guardians. They go over every Green Lantern. They have all their different ones and their numbers that have been ever involved in the DC universe. So you can really become a Green Lantern aficionado through all this. I always forget their names because there's too many of them. Then you get the Sinestro Corps in the same deal at the end of this. And a bunch of variant covers at the back. So cool stuff. This is the definitive Green Lantern run. This is perfect comics. It's 10 out of 10. If you ever want to read the Green Lantern, just buy this. Start here. You really don't need anything else. And that is this omnibus. 1,200 plus page monster. Ethan Van Sciver's art's amazing. Ivan Reis is probably my second favorite. Gorgeous, gorgeous stuff. Pick it up today. You won't regret it. All right, hit that like and subscribe button. We'll be back soon.